578 and Republic Act number 4670 or the Magna Carta for public school teachers. This time, I am going to introduce to all of you my group mates, Ma'am Michelle Jupido, Sharon Joy Casuyon, Ma'am Lynette Galan, and of course, me, Jade Carriedo. And we are the Group 4 reporters. But before we start our discussion, let us show you first the objectives of our topic. So the objectives is at the end of the lesson, the students will be able to know the rights and privileges of public school teachers. Okay. So before that, we have prepared a short game that everyone can enjoy. So the title of the game that we are going to play is To Guess the Gibberish. Okay. So the gibberish word, it means it is a meaningless word or a nonsense speech or writing. Okay, so some of you are already know this, but to those who have not yet, let me explain the mechanics. Okay, so number one mechanics, there is a gibberish word flash in the screen. Then you have to read the gibberish word 3 times or as many as you can in order for you to familiarize and understand the word. So example word, quarantine. So you have to say it 2 times or as many as you can. So if you already know the answer, say it. You can type it or you can write it on the chat box. The one who is or the first one who wrote at the chat box is who write at the chat box is the one who acknowledging i-acknowledge siya ng game master. Okay, so wait for the game master to acknowledge you. Then the one who has the most number of points at the end of the game is the winner. So, naiintindihan niyo po ba?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so very good. So, who is up to this game? Okay, so everyone. So, let's have a
I
trial.
will try.
So, isulat nyo lang ang inyong sagot sa chat box. Okay, so let's have a trial. Number 1. A spongy Bobby's SquarePants. Okay, so nakikita nyo lang ba sa screen nyo? So, ano po ang
Yes,
answer? Okay, so ang answer ay okay, si Ma'am April Mahadillas sumagot ng SpongeBob SquarePants. So tama po. Bago ko makalimutan, ang time po ng pagsasagot ng ng game is 5 seconds only. So kung paunahan po ng sagot, kung wala pong may nag-type sa loob ng 5 seconds, wala pong mananalo. At bago ko rin po makalimutan, ang price po ng aming game is 50 pesos load. Okay? Okay. So, number 1. Okay. So, I think everyone had already understand. Let's start. Okay, number 1 word. Teacher. So, 5 seconds. 1, 2, 3. Okay, so, ang nauna, si Sir John Ray Tabuhara. Okay, Ma'am Shing, 1 point. Sir John Ray
Tabuhara got a 1 point.
Okay, so, next, teacher. Next word, student. 1, 2, 3. Wow. Okay. So, may nauna na si Sir John Ray Mangyapon.
Sir John
Okay.
Ray got 2
Next.
points.
2 points na. Next word. Pay her soon. Anong sagot? 1, 2. Okay, si Ma'am April Mahadilias. Person. The answer is person. Okay, Ma'am Shing, si Ma'am April, 1 point. Okay, next. Next word. Ma'am Shing. Dula si Ma'am Sharon.
Brown out ka, Ma'am.
Oh, Brown.
Ma'am Jade, may cellphone ka? Ma'am Jade, sa cellphone mo na lang kunin.
May-ari Ma'am Lynette.
Makago-on lang ta. Masulod na si si Ma'am Sharon.
Okay, sige. Ay, wait. Wala ko gali na type. Okay, so kung sino na lang yung nakarami ng points, siya na lang ang panalo.
Okay.
Okay,
So,
so
John Ray.
John Ray, yes, si Sir John Ray Tabohara naka 2 points. So siya po ang magki-claim ng ating prize. 50 pesos load. So paki-send lang po yung number sa group chat at si Ma'am Lynette Gala na po ang bahala sa iyo, John Ray.
Ara na si Ma'am Brown out. Ma'am Sha.
Ma'am, sorry, nag-run out ang PowerPoint ko ara sa computer.
Okay. Go-on lang, ma'am. Sa cellphone mo.
At nang mayari lang ko di copy sa akong report, galing ang aton nga presentation ara gid sa computer.
Okay.
Sige, okay lang. Run out gid di sa amon, wala kami di wifi. Ita lang gid di nagamit ko.
Sige, Shane.
At sige, continue na lang.
Okay,
Ala,
so
sorry.
thank you for participating to our game. So, I think this time you already have a full energy to listen with our report. So, the first reporter is me, and I will be reporting the Commonwealth Act number 578. So, babasahin ko na lang po dahil wala po kaming PowerPoint ngayon. Commonwealth Act number 578, an act to amend or to make minor changes, Article 152 of the revised penal code. So, as to include teachers, professors, and persons charged with the supervision of public or duly recognized private schools, colleges, and universities within the term persons in authority. So actually, there are two, a person in authority and agent person in authority. But this time, let's have focus in the term person in authority. So, what is person in authority? Alamin muna natin kung ano ba ang ibig sabihin ng person in authority. So, sa Tagalog, ito ay taong may otoridad o ito ay ang taong itinalaga na may kapangyarihang magpatupad o ipatupad ang mga batas. So, in Section 1, Article 152 of Act Number 3815, known as the Revised Penal Code, is amended to read as follows. So, we can read Article 152, persons in authority, who shall be deemed as such in applying the provisions of the preceding and other articles of this code. Any person directly vested or assigned person with jurisdiction or power, whether as an individual or as a member of some court or governmental corporation, board or commission shall be deemed person in authority. So, who are considered as a person in authority or sino ba ang itinuturing na person in authority? Ito ay ang mga taong individual o miyembro ng korte, korporasyon ng gobyerno, board o komisyon, kasama na riyan ang mga punong barangay. So in applying the provisions of Article 148 and 151 of this code, teachers, professors, and persons charged with the supervision of of public or duly recognized private schools, colleges, and universities shall be deemed person in authority. So in this act, we can read that teachers, supervisors, principals, or professors in any public and private schools are considered as person in authority. Ngunit, ang teachers and lawyer ay person in authority lang sila kapag ito ay direct assault. Or halimbawa, si teacher ay nasa faculty room tapos ay sinugod at sinampal siya ng isa sa kanyang estudyante. Meaning, that is direct assault at maaaring maparusahan ng estudyante dahil sa pagpapahiya at pananakit niya sa kanyang guro. So, back to Commonwealth Act, nabasa natin, in this act is for the protection of the person in authority, especially teachers, and through this act, teacher can easily protect themselves and protect their students and protect their environment as well. So, in Section 2, this act shall take effect upon its approval, enacted without executive approval June 8, 1940. So, that's all my report. So, the next reporter is Ma'am Michelle Jupido, and she will be reporting Magna Carta for public school teachers from Section 1 to Section 12. Michelle.
This way. So, good evening, everyone. My report is the Magna Carta for the public school teachers. The Section 1, the Declaration Policy, is hereby declared to be the policy of this act to promote and improve the social and economic status for the public school teachers, their living and working conditions, their terms of employment and career prospect, in order that they may compare favorably with existing opportunities in other walks of life, attract and retain the teaching profession more people with the proper qualifications. So the declaration policy states that the policy of this act is to promote and improve the social economic status of the public school teachers. The teacher are the one who gave more effort in order to develop the students. So the section 2, the entitled Discrimination. This act shall be known as the Magna Carta for the public school teachers and shall apply to all public school teachers except those professorial staff in state colleges and university. So, when we say Magna Carta for the public school teachers, this act states that the right of every public teachers toward his or her students and co-teachers, and also for the parents and the guardians of learners. And also, we should keep in our mind that Magna Carta is only for the public school teachers. So, the section 3, the recruitment and the qualification. The recruitment policy with respect the selection and the appointment of the teacher shall be clearly defined by the Department of Education. To provide this act, the following shall constitute the minimum education qualification for the teacher's applicant. So the recruitment and the qualification state that the recruitment shall be effective upon the approval of this act wherein the following shall constitute the minimum education qualification for the teacher. So A, the teacher in the kindergarten and elementary grades, bachelor degree and education. So if you are entering in college, you if, and if you want to take education, you need to think more if what level of education you should pursue. So if you love to teach small children, and you must take kindergarten, and if you want to mature one, you should take uh, BSA or Bachelor of Secondary Education. So B, the teachers and secondary school bachelor degree in education of its equivalent with a major and minor of bachelor degree in art and science with at least 18 professional unit in education. So uh, letter C, the teacher and the secondary, vocational, and 2 years of technical courses, degree in the field of specialization with at least 18 units in education. So, it's better to have a professional unit in education na pag nakagraduate ka ng secondary education. So, for the teacher of courses of the collegiate level, other than vocational master degree with a specific area of specialization. So, if you are in college, and you are graduated, so it is very helpful and to you if you have a master degree because this is the one of the best requirement. So, the section 4, the probationary period. So, when recruitment takes place after adequate training and the professional preparation of any school recognized by the government, no probationary period preceding regular appointment shall be imposed if the teacher possesses the appropriate civil service of eligibility. So, there would be an adequate training and also professional preparation, especially with any school recognized by the government. So, the section 5, the tenure of office. Tenure of office, the stability of employment and security of the tenure shall be assured the teachers as provided under the existing law. The subject to the provision of the section, there hereby teachers appointed on the provision status for lack of necessary service, and eligibility shall be extended permanent appointment for the position he is holding after having rendered at least 10 years of continuous efficiency and faithful service in that such position. So, if the teacher are appointed on the provisional status of lack of necessary civil service or eligibility shall be extended a permanent for the position he is holding after having rendered 10 years of continuous efficiency and faithful service in such position. So, for example, if the teacher lack of necessary civil service and eligibility shall be rendered at least 10 years in that position he is holding. So, the more you spend time in the service as the teacher, the more you become effective. So, the section 6, the consent for transfer and transportation expenses. Except for the costs as herein otherwise provided, no teacher shall be transferred without his consent from one station to another. Where the exigencies of this service require transfer of the teacher from one station to another, such transfer may be effected by the school superintendent, who shall previously notify the teacher concerned of transfer of the reasons or reasons therefore. So, necessary transfer expenses for the good for a teacher and his family shall be paid for by the government and his transfer is finally approved. So there will be no teacher shall transfer without the consent of one station to another. And it should be effective by the school superintendent, who shall notify the teacher concerned of the transfer, and that person should have reason if they want to transfer. So the section 7, the code of professional conduct for the teacher. Within the 6 months from approval of this act, the Secretary of Education shall formulate and prepare the Code of Education Professional Conduct for the public school teachers. A copy of the code shall be furnished each teacher section. So, the Code of Professional Conduct for the teacher, wherein the Secretary of Education shall formulate and prepare the Code of Professional Conduct for the public schools. So, the Section 8, the Safeguard and Disciplinary Procedure. So, each teacher shall enjoy the equitable safeguard at each stage of any disciplinary procedure and shall have uh, the right to inform the writing of his charges and b the right to full access to the evidence of this case. So uh, each of teachers has the right to defend themselves and to be defended by the representative, and the right to appear clearly and the designated authorities. So, the section 9, the administrative charges. So, the administrative charges against against a teacher shall be heard initially by the committee composed of corresponding school superintendent of the division or July authorities, authorized representative who should at least have the rank of the division or supervisor, where the teacher belongs as a chairman, a representative of the local or in its absence or existing provincial or national teacher organization or supervisor of the division. At last, two to be designated by the director of the public school. So, he- in order to hear the side of the teacher being charged, and it should be within 30 days from the termination of hearing. So, the section 10, the discrimination. No discrimination. So, there shall be no discrimination whatsoever in entrance of the teaching profession or during its exercise or in the termination of service based in the other than the professional consideration. So, it states that there shall be no discrimination for the teacher on her or his teaching profession. So you have the right to defend yourself and the discrimination in this section. So section 11, the marriage teachers. Whatever possible, the proper authorized shall take all step to enable marriage couple, both of whom are public school teachers, to be employed in the same locality. So, as much as possible, marriage teachers must be employed in the same locality. But some, but not necessary in the same school, but in the same locality. So, the section 12, the academic freedom. The teacher shall enjoy the academic freedom in the discharge of these professional duties, particularly with regard to a teaching and the classroom method. So, so for example, if you are the teachers, you have the right to teach the students whether what you want to teach them or what method do you want to teach them, and if what discipline if what method do you want to take with your students. Okay na ma'am, ikaw na ma'am Sharon.
The next reporter is Ma'am Sharon Casuyon, and she will be reporting Section 13 to Section 20.
I think Sharon is not on the platform now. She is not here. Jade, please turn on your mic.
Sir,
Okay. Do you have any plans for the part that Sharon will be reporting? I think they're experiencing blackout now. Maybe her phone has run out of battery.
Wait lang sir, dali nang gid kay wala siya load. Loadan ko anay sir, dali nang gid.
Okay. So thank you so much, Lenit. We will wait for her.
Okay. Okay na, sir. Your turn, Ma'am Sha.
Sige. Sorry good guys. Okay. Our okay, the topic that I will report is the hours of work and remuneration. Okay, the section 13. So the section 13 is the teaching hours. Teacher engaged in actual classroom instruction shall not be required to render more than 6 hours of actual classroom teaching a day, which shall be so scheduled as to give him time for the preparation and correction of exercises and other work incidental to his normal teaching duties. Okay, when we say actual classroom instruction, you are engaged with the students or you are teaching. And when we say work incidental, it is the other work related like lesson planning and checking of papers. Okay. In this section 13 tells that it is a right of a teacher to only have a class schedule with exactly 6 hours a day. So, if it is more than 6 hours, it is tackled in the next section, which is the section 14. The section 14 is the additional compensation teacher teacher that perform out of school activities, which the example of the activities is the PRISA Act or the Quiz Bee or any other activities outside of what is defined as normal duties of any teacher shall be paid in additional compensation of at least 25% of his regular remuneration after the teacher has completed at least 6 hours of actual classroom teaching a day. Okay, when we say additional compensation, it is a salary paid in excess of an employee's base salary for the effort that is performed in addition to our outside or effort spent on normal job duties. Okay, when we say regular remuneration, it is a monthly fixed remuneration paid to an employee. So it is included the bonuses, wage, pensions, leave encashment, voluntary award, or the overtime. So in section 14, it tackles about the increase of salary of the teacher if he or she have an outside work. For example, a teacher salary per day is 200. So 200 times the 25%, which is 50 pesos. So the salary of a teacher is or will become 200 pesos per day. So next section is criteria for salaries. Teacher salaries shall correspond to the following. So the first criteria is they shall compare favorably with those paid in other occupations requiring equivalent or similar qualifications, training, and abilities. So, in this criteria, it will base according to the salary of a work in his or her community. For example, a government employee's salary is 300 pesos. So, the salary of a teacher will be or must also be 300 pesos. So the next criteria is they shall be such as to ensure teachers a reasonable standard of life for themselves and their families. So in the second criteria, the teacher salary must satisfy his or her families. So the next criteria is they shall be properly graded so as to recognize the fact that a certain position require higher qualification and greater responsibility than others. Provided, however, that the general salary scale shall be such that the relation between the lowest and highest salaries paid in the profession will be reasonable order. Okay, when we say salary scale, it is the basis of the salary of a teacher. For example, if you are a master teacher, you have so many opportunities and you have a bigger salary but a biggest responsibility. The bigger salary, the biggest responsibility. Okay, next. The next section is section 16, the salary scale. salary scale of teachers shall provide for a gradual progression from a minimum to a maximum salary by means of regular increments granted automatically after 3 years. So when we say gradual progression from lower salary going to the highest salary. For example, if you are a newly hired public school teacher, don't expect that your salary must or is higher than those who are long in service in the same position. So the next section is the equality in salary scales. The salary scales of teachers whose salaries are appropriated or nararapat na sahod by a city or county government shall be determined according to the salary scale of teachers whose salaries are appropriated by the city or county government.
I think we lost Sharon again.
Ha? Okay, sir. Ako na lang mag-continue,
Sige,
sir.
sige. Kasi wala naka-unli ang iyang ano na, ang iyang load. Sige, Jade, please continue.
Okay, so section equality in salary scales. The salary scales of teachers whose salaries are appropriated by the government shall not be less than those provided for teachers of the national government. Section 18, Cost of Living Allowance. Teacher salaries shall at the very least keep pace with the rise in the cost of living by the payment of a cost of living allowance, which shall automatically follow changes in the cost of living index. Section 19. Special hardship allowances. In areas in which teachers are exposed to hardship such as difficulty in commuting to the place of work or other hazards peculiar to the place of the employment, as, as determined by the Secretary of Education, they shall be compensated special hardship allowances equivalent to at least 25% of their monthly salary. Okay, so that is the pictures. The picture pala. Okay, Section 20. Salaries to be paid in legal tender. Salaries of teachers shall be paid in legal tender of the Philippines or its equivalent in checks or treasury warrants. Section 21. Deductions prohibited. No person shall make any deduction whatsoever from the salaries of teachers except under a specific authority of law authorizing such deductions. Health measures and injury benefits. Section 22. Medical examination and treatment. Compulsory medical examination shall be provided free for charge for all teachers before they take up teaching and shall be repeated not less than once a year during the teacher's professional life. Section 23. Compensation for injuries. Teachers shall be protected against the consequences of employment injuries in accordance of existing laws. The effects of the physical and nervous strain on the teacher's health shall be recognized as a compensable occupational disease in accordance with existing laws. Okay. So that's all for the report of Ma'am Sharon Casuyon. The next reporter, the last but not the least, Ma'am Lynette Galan. She will be reporting section 24 to section 35.
Good evening, everyone. My report, I will continue our report, leave and retirement benefits. Okay, study leave. In addition to the leave privileges now enjoyed by teachers in the public schools, they shall be entitled to study leave not exceeding 1 year. After 7 years of service, such leave shall be granted in accordance with the schedule set by the Department of Education. In this section, stated here that after 7 years of service, teachers can leave for further studies. So the government is allowing the teachers to study and leave the school. But remember, it is in accordance with the schedule set by the Department of Education. Why? It is because you have students to leave. So it means to say you need to explain why before leaving. Okay, and then another one, Section 25, indefinite leave. An indefinite sick leave of absence shall be granted for to teachers when the nature of illness demands a long treatment that will exceed 1 year at the least. Okay, so uh, also it is given to the person who are sick, so they have sick leave. Indefinite sick leave, it means when we say indefinite, it is a long term, a long time of leaving the school. So because of maybe some of it is cancer. Okay, and Section 26, salary increase upon retirement. Public school teachers having fulfilled the age and service requirements of the applicable retirement laws shall be given one range salary raise upon retirement, which shall be the basis of the computation of the lump sum of the retirement pay and the monthly benefits thereafter. So in public school teachers, they have given one range salary. What does it mean? So in the public school public school, they have salary grade. If you're retired having salary grade of 13, you can get salary grade 14. So it means to say there is an increase of payment. So that is the benefit given to the public school teachers. Next, please. Okay, teachers organization. Section 27, freedom to organize. Public school teachers shall have the right to freely and without previous authorization both to establish and join organizations of their choosing, whether local or national, to further and defend their interests. So we have, as public school teachers, you are free to organize and or any without any authorization. One of it is also one of it is the uh, organization that we handle as teachers is teachers PTA, teachers parents teachers organization, or some other in barangay. You can be a barangay president also. So as public school teachers, you are free to have a organization to be joined. Next, please. Okay, Section 28, discrimination against teachers prohibited. Okay, the rights established in the immediate preceding section shall be exercised without any interference or coercion. It shall be unlawful for any person to commit any acts of discrimination against teachers which are calculated. So, discrimination. So, um, interference or coercion, it means to say to stop uh, or prohibited. So it is not law. It shall be unlawful for any person to commit any acts of it. So next, please. Okay. Okay. Letter A. Make the employment of teacher subject to the condition that shall not join an organization or shall relinquish membership in an organization. So this is discrimination against teachers prohibited. So you cannot hire a teacher and then say, oh, stop joining in that organization. Okay, another one. See that picture? to cause the dismissal or otherwise prejudice a teacher by reason of his membership in an organization or because of participation in organization activities outside school hours or with the consent of the proper school authorities within the school hours. So that is also um, discrimination. So you cannot do that to a teacher. Okay, another one. To prevent him from carrying out the duties laid upon him by his position in the organization or penalize him for an action undertaken in that capacity. So if you are principal or supervisor, you cannot do that to your teachers because of the organization he's entering. Okay. Section 29, National Teachers Organization. National Teachers Organization shall be consulted in the formulation of national education policies and professional standards in the formulation of national policies governing the social security of the teacher. So there's a lot of teachers organization. I have here some of it is the PAFTI, Philippine Association National, and there is also another National Education Association. And my neighbor here said MTMAS or local teachers. And another one is NOTF, Negros Occidental Teachers Association. So there are a lot of organization created by this by teachers organization, but it is insecurity. Ma'am, excuse. Uh, okay. Okay. Rules and regulations. Okay. Administration enforcement. Rules and regulation. Rules and regulation issued pursuant to this section shall take effect 30 days after publication in newspaper of general circulation and by such other means as Secretary of Education deems reasonably sufficient to give interested parties general notice of such insurance. So they are given 30 days of publication before uh, uh, they have given 30 days after publication in the newspaper of general calculation of such other means as Secretary of Education deems reasonably. So dapat may 30 days allowance silang pinaalam lahat ng mga teachers para isunod yung mga rules and regulations. So they have given time 30 days. Okay, next please. Okay, budgetary estimates. The Secretary of Education shall submit to Congress annually the necessary budgetary estimates to implement the provision of Act concerning the beneficiary and granted to public school teachers under employ of national government. So annually, the Congress have an allotted budget for public school teachers and especially as of now we are experiencing pandemic, so the Department of Education is asking more budget for the Department of Education because of modules. They have lots of um, needs. They need laptop, they need what else, they need internet connection. So a lot of this coming from the government. So the Congress annually submit all the requirements and necessary budget for this. Okay, next, please. Okay. Penal provision. A person who shall willfully interfere with, restrain, or coerce any teacher in exercise of his rights granted by these acts by this act, or who shall in any other manner commit any act to defeat any of the provision of this act shall upon conviction be punished by a fine of not less than 100 pesos or more than 1,000 pesos, or by imprisonment in the discretion of the court. So they need to fine 100 pesos or not more than 1,000, or it can be imprisoned too. Okay, next please. Okay, repealing clause. All acts or parts of acts, executive orders under implementing rules inconsistent with the provision of this act are hereby repealed, amended, or modified accordingly. Okay, separably clause. If any provision of this act is declared invalid, the remainder of this act or any provision not affected thereby shall remain in force and in effect. So when we say repealing clause, it is revoke, uh, renounce, or paano I call this, revoke or annul. Okay, it is the annulment of this section. Okay, next. Okay, this act shall take effect upon its approval. It was approved June 18, 1969. It is the Magna Carta. 1966. It is the Magna Carta. This act shall take effect upon its approval. So it was approved June 18, 1966. Hindi pa tayo na okay. Okay. I have here one quotation. A good teacher is like a candle. It consumes itself to light the way for others. Okay. So, a good teacher. Okay, teachers. A good teachers is like a candle which shines. Pero, okay. Teachers, we have mission to accomplish. Okay, the government has given us protection and much privileges. Okay, our pupils in our pupils or our students is not permanent to us. They are passing. They just there for a maximum of 4 years in college or maximum of 3 years in preschool. But the truth is, they are still passing. As teachers, we are there to light. We need effort, preparation, spend money, buy laptop, and pay internet, and feed them. Maubusan man tayo ng pasensya minsan. Ma-high blood man tayo sa mga estudyanteng hindi nakikinig. But for our concern is our students. We need to light. We need to be light. Dapat natin iwagan yung mga estudyante na hinahawakan natin ngayon at ituwid ang kanilang mga daan. So, if we do that, we fulfill our mission. We accomplish our mission. Okay. So, thank you very much and God bless you all.
Okay, is that the end of the presentation?
Yes, sir. Thank you so much.
Okay,
Thank you,
congratulations
sir.
to Group 4 na nairaos natin, no? Grabe yung yung pagsubok na dumating sa grupo, nagkaroon ng
Yes,
brownout,
sir.
hindi available
No.
ang PowerPoint. Pero I have noticed that you worked really collaboratively, and also one thing I have noticed in the group is that you did not lose your composure even with the challenges that came in your way. I think that is one thing that we teachers always instill in us. Whatever challenges may come in our way, if we have a what do you call this, a proper mindset and positive mindset, I think we can always find ways, find
Yes, sir.
interventions, find strategies that would fit in our context. I think it's not about how prepared we are in terms of teaching, but how mentally prepared we are in as far as the duties and responsibilities of the teacher are concerned. Kasi napakaraming responsibilidad ng isang guro, no? Kung inyong napapansin sa report pa lang ng grupo, actually, this one presentation that has a lot of technicalities. Na alam ko naman nung nag-approach si Lynette, if we could invite lawyer para kunuwentan. Sabi ko, naku, baka magiging pang-abogado na itong klase natin. I don't want to make our class so technical because the role of Magna Carta for public school teachers, the Commonwealth Act, and also the Philippine Constitution is just to uplift your morale as teachers. No? Nahanda
Thank you,
tayo
sir.
sa trabaho natin. Hindi lang naman ito no? I know that in the future, if you want to venture into another discipline, pwede naman nating i-expand no, ang ating knowledge. But for this particular subject, I don't want also to overwhelm you so much with the technicalities. That is why I want only to bring down the discussion at the layman's level.
Thank you,
Kasi
sir.
medyo mahirap pag no, although I appreciate that what you call this, that initiative that the group has planned to do, but I don't want to overwhelm everyone here. That is why I just wanted to focus on what are the essentials, or what you call this, the basic concepts
Sila
that
kasi
we need to
masingit siya.
understand as far as the Magna Carta for public school teachers is concerned, and also in as far as the Commonwealth Act number 578 is concerned. So we have to lay down our cards at the level of the beginning teachers, because now you are considered beginning teachers. Once you have finished the course, and once you have passed the licensure examination for teachers and you enter the teaching profession, your entry level is proficient teacher. That is why, as beginning teacher, it is very important that we know the basic roles, responsibilities, and duties of a teacher. And at least you have a background of what are those expectations that you need also to understand when you enter the world of teaching. As you may have noticed, or as you may have emphasized, that this is only intended for public school teachers, but I know 80%, if not 90% of the students who are enrolled in this class will be joining the Department of Education later on. And I suppose, although this is intended only for public school teachers, some of the provisions here may be similar to those applied also in the private schools, which you can also more or less compare. So in terms of benefits, na baka sabihin natin saan ba maraming benefits, sa private school or sa public school. At least you have seen already the difference at this point in time. So let me share with you some of the comments that I have with this group. So let me just share my PowerPoint presentation. I can hear some insects. Sound of insects. Kanino kaya galing yun, no? Na-miss ko yung ganyang sound no? Paglabas mo ng bahay, nandun yung ano natin. Okay, so let me share with you the title of the presentation is actually on the rights and privileges of teachers in the Philippines. No? Hindi pa natin alam kung sa ibang bansa ano kaya yung kanilang rights and privileges, but more or less we can do a little bit of comparison. Okay, in the succeeding lessons that we will have in this course, there will be a little bit of comparison of the lifestyle, not only lifestyle, but the status or the conditions of teachers in other countries as compared to that of the Philippines. But now we will understand first what are those rights and privileges of teachers in the Philippines. And I think the group has given you the basic background, or the very basic, or the background of the rights and privileges. I think at this level, yun na muna. No? Yung mga basic lang muna. If you want to discuss this deeply, you can study it more and more or less ask the right persons no? to explain it to you. But right now, I think the group has given us enough background of the rights and privileges of teachers in the Philippines. So, the presenters of the group are Leneth Galan, Jade Carriedo, Sharon Joy Casuyon, and Michelle Jupido. For your good points, you have started with a game. I like that. The instruction also was clear. You used extrinsic motivation. You gave out 50 peso load. Hindi na ako sumali. Baka sabihin nila bias pag nanalo ako. So, grabe yung ano no, ang bilis sumagot ni John Ray, na ipanalo niya yung first place. Dapat may second place no, si April sana yung makakuha ng second place. Pero it's really nice because this morning I was watching a video of this 7 or 8 year old girl ata who joined in a spelling competition, and in that spelling competition it's not just a spelling competition because the quiz master would ask her questions to spell something in an inverted way. No? So nakaka ano 'yun, nakakagrabe yung brain natin pala no. We can challenge our brain to even do such amazing things. So, sabi ko itong game ninyo, it's a good way to more or less tickle the minds of your classmates to participate in the discussion. And it's really good because you have also made use of the words which are also related in the topic. No? So, congratulations. Gusto ko sana na ipasok natin yung mga terms na Magna Carta, pero okay naman yung teachers na term, yung student na term, no? Kasi nandun naman yun sa topic na diniscuss ng grupo.
Dinarap mo na ta ni sir.
Meron
Galing
sir,
sir.
galing sa
Okay.
ulit.
Ayan. So,
Sir.
hanggang
Saka
third
may
item
Commonwealth.
lang. Okay. So,
Saka yung Commonwealth sir, include man.
okay. So, congratulations, no? Kasi
Yes
natumbok
sir.
ninyo. Yun yung klase ng, ng activity that I wanted you to begin your presentation. That's the kind of priming activity. At least your participants will be given the right context. If you become a lecturer someday, uh, any game that is related to your presentation would really be a super good jump start of your discussion. So always begin with an interesting teaser or an interesting game that would capture the audience attention. Her audience's attention. Collaboration also was evident, yung pagpasa ng ano no, na hindi available yung isa, pero yung siguro yung dapat nating tandaan doon na yung quickness, no, yung promptness at nandun naman nakita naman natin. Although we were not able to start really on time, but nevertheless you were able to finish your discussion just in time. Also to give me time for the processing. Comprehensive discussion of the topic. Every section was given really specific examples. May mga relatable naman doon na mga examples na naibigay na ninyo. In terms of organizations, I think Lenet also has given a lot of organizations already. Naibanggit pa niya yung MTMAS. Pero ayoko maging miyembro kayo ng MTMAS. No, I don't want to promote borrowing money here. So, because that's for borrowing money. Although it is also good to be a member of that. But sometimes, we cannot avoid ourselves to be enticed, no, to apply for a loan even if we don't need the money. I know that there are some teachers who apply for a loan even if they don't need the money just to purchase the newest, latest release of an iPhone smartphone, or yung mga ganyan, yung pagbili ng appliances. So may mga ganun no? So kaya kailangan din natin siguro yung discussion on financial management. Now, when you become teacher someday, you have to learn the basics of managing your finances. But of course, that's part of the organizations. Although we have a lot of organizations, we also have in English, we have the RAP, no? The Reading Association of the Philippines, na pwede namang maging miyembro tayo doon, no? If you're a teacher, there's also a membership fee. We have also the Kasugufil, no? In Filipino, no? Kapisanan ng mga guro sa Filipino, tama, Kasugufil. So may mga ganong uri ng grupo na pwedeng maging part tayo, or pwedeng maging part of alliance of ano ba 'yon? concerned teachers. Although minsan parang nalilihis na tayo doon sa pinaka-goal natin kasi our goal is to teach. Kasi minsan kasi if we allow ourselves to join in organizations, chances are it's either we focus on that organization or we focus on teaching. And what is important here is that we know our existence in the classroom. The very basic role of a teacher is to teach. And therefore, even though we become part of these organizations, we have to see to it that, of course, our main job is to teach and that we should always function as a teacher first before anything else. Rooms for improvement, yung plan B natin, hindi masyado siyang clear no yung plan B. Although Jade was able to recover, nakuha ni Jade yung PowerPoint presentation, pero it would have been best if all of you had already the copy of the PowerPoint presentation so that when one is for example, is out of coverage or ran out of battery and so on, anyone can just immediately take over. And then, yeah, that's the one thing that we need to improve on. Mastery of the subject matter on the topic. I think everyone has mastered on the topic. Um, Although I think my concern here was on, I'm not very particular with pronunciation. However, we are elementary school teachers. We are preschool teachers, and the best foundation or the foundational years of the learners are actually elementary years. So therefore, we have to practice more on the production. I know that this is a challenge for all of us because maybe we were trained or we were taught by our previous teachers the way we are pronouncing now, but we can still improve on that. I am also a product of a public school system. And mind you, my public school, well, not as comparable with the private schools, but I did strive hard in order for me to improve on especially pronunciation, because that time I had a lot of lapses in pronunciation. Even the e and the short, the short e and the long e, for example, I have problems on that, and I think we need to improve on that. That's one thing that I want the group, to take really extra efforts on, because that is very important. We want to teach our kids the correct way of pronouncing words, especially for elementary. It's very crucial. So I want you to really improve on that. And then reduction of the background noise. I know that it's inevitable. We cannot avoid background noise, especially that we don't own the house. Unless it's your house, you can tell your kids or your husband or anybody in the house to keep quiet while you are having the discussion. But I could hear dogs barking, a lot of unnecessary noise. Sometimes it did distract the concentration of everybody else. Internet connection, I know that it's beyond our control. I understand Sharon pretty well. She lost her connection, and it could happen anytime, even in national trainings. No, we had our training today. Power, interruption could happen anytime, and I think that's beyond our control. So congratulations overall, you did well. Despite the interference, you were able to you were able to what do you call this, to really brace through. You were able to finish, no, the discussion, or naitawid natin yung discussion natin. Sabi nga ni Nelson Mandela, to deny people of their human rights is to deny their very humanity. That is why as teachers, we are given a lot of privileges, na may mga pribilehiyo yung teacher. Kasi gaya ng ibang professional, gaya ng ibang tao, ang teachers ay tao rin. Kumakain din, no, nangangailangan din ng allowance. If yung pulis matataas yung hindi natin maipagkakaila ang pulis ngayon, napakataas na ng salary ng pulis. No, I think basic salary of police officer 1 is already 30,000 pesos. Compared to teachers in the Philippines na yung basic salary natin is 22,360. Napakalayo ng agwat ng teacher 1, no, sa police officer. Pero huwag tayong mag-alala, no, because we are still receiving increase every year naman, no. May mga increase naman na nagaganap, and I hope the the proposal to really increase the salary of the teacher so that all of us, or maybe many of us, will be enticed to become teachers are now in the making, no? It's being now heard in Congress. So hopefully it will be approved, no? Meron naman tayong representative doon, no, sa Kongreso. Kaya dapat iboto natin yung mga ano, no? Nag-election na ako campaign dito. Yung mga ano, yung mga anong tawag doon? Yung gaya ng act, no? Yung mga anong tawag doon, nakalimutan ko yung term. Yung mga ganong uri ng grupo, dapat nating i-support natin yung mga party list, no, rather, no, that campaigns or that supports for teachers benefits.
A teacher, sir.
Yung
Yes,
basta ano, tingnan muna natin yung ano nila. Baka yung personal ano lang, personal na kagustuhan na nila yung gusto nilang matamo. Kasi if they're representing us, they're also enjoying the benefits of a representative. Parang congressman na rin sila eh, no? So they enjoy the benefits. But above all, we have to look into the purpose, the rationale of the group, no, na dapat nating iboto. So for the summary, the welfare of teachers has been given much attention in the past years, and the Philippine Constitution guarantees that the states shall, there are three, enhance the right of teachers to professional advancement. So, ibig sabihin, nandun na yung sa Constitution natin, na kung gusto nating mag-study, that is why it is reflected in Magna Carta, no, na kung gusto mo mag-study after 7 years, you will be granted 1 year study leave with pay yon. No? And I was able to avail that. When I went to Japan to study in a scholarship grant, I was able to apply for a leave. Hindi lang siya 1 taon. I was granted by DepEd 1.5 years to study in Japan. And that time, I was receiving a full salary while I was in Japan, other than the allowances that I got from the Japanese government. Kasi yung nandoon ka, may allowance ka na sa Japanese government, may sweldo ka pa sa Philippines. So you see, that benefit that you can get in teaching, no? And that time I was already a supervisor, but since supervisor is still defined as teacher as stipulated in Magna Carta, still I was able to enjoy that. That's one of the benefits that you could enjoy actually. At kung maingat ka, no, lalo na sa finances, naku, you could save a lot of money, no, while you are studying somewhere. It could be in the Philippines or it could be abroad. Assign the highest budgetary priority to education. Just for the record, I would like to say na ngayon, ang ating allocation no, sa government sa buong Pilipinas ay 551.7 billion pesos yung allocation ng education, no, in the Philippines. Of course, kung ikukumpara ito last year, mas mataas yung last year kasi last year is 659 billion. So parang mga mahigit 100 billion yung ibinaba, no? It's understandable because naman of a lot of problems that hit, no, the Philippines. And also ensure that the teaching will attract and retain its rightful share of the best available talents through adequate remuneration and other means of job satisfaction and fulfillment. Kaya nabanggit kanina ang daming benefits natin, no? This coming November, end of November, teachers will be receiving our 13th month pay. Maliban doon sa Christmas bonus, no? Maliban sa darating na March or April, meron kaming productivity, may clothing. Pagdating ng Mayo, mayroong mid-year bonus, no? So ang daming bonuses na ma-receive ni teacher. Kaya yun yung mga tawag dito, mga perks, no, of being a teacher. And I think Sharon also mentioned earlier in the exigency of service, pwede kang mabigyan ng salary na 25% of your salary, no? And for the record, hindi po 200 or 300 ang daily wage ng teacher. Ang daily wage ng teacher, kinompute ko po, meron tayong 719 pesos per day. Kasi parang sabihin naman ng 300, para naman yung sa gaisano lang, no? Para at least alam naman natin na malaki yung salary ng teacher na, hey, teacher ako, no? So, mas mataas yan sa nagtatrabaho sa mall, no? Sa gaisano. Or, di ba sa mall ngayon parang 300 something na or 400? So, at least naman malalaman natin, ay, nako, ang laki, no? More than half higher is the salary of teacher on a daily basis compared to those of working only with the blue collar jobs, no? Yun yung mga dapat nating isa-isip kasi it boosts, no, the morale of the teacher. And yung issue on salary increase every 3 years, without you applying for it, tama yun. No? Ang tawag doon ay step increment. No? So every 3 years, pwedeng i-increase yung salary maliban sa promotion. So yung step increment is not a promotion. However, it is mandated in the Magna Carta that we can get an increase in salary every 3 years. So it is given na yon. No, given na yon na kino-compute na yan ng ano na automatic i-integrate sa iyo. Pero sa mga nangyayari kasi ngayon, because of so many things that of course all the people are doing in DepEd, it is best also if the teacher knows his benefits. Para at least pagka 3 years mo, sabihin mo, dapat naka-step na ako Bakit hindi ito na-integrate sa akin? No? So you can apply for it. I mean, you can not apply, but you remind the concerned personnel to process your documents for a step increment. Kasi napaka ano din, no? More or less minsan nasa 800 to 1,000 or beyond that yung increase, no, na pwede mo namang ma-enjoy. So you have to consider that. Although promotion naman happens with your qualifications, no, kapag nakapag-MA ka na, no, nakapag-demo ka, naka-attend ka ng mga training, seminars, etc., etc., pag pinapagawa ka ng lesson exemplars, gumagawa ka, yun yung mga extra things that we have to do in order to capacitate ourselves. And these are the things also which are needed in the promotion, no, later on. Kasi mahalaga yung promotion sa atin, no? Ako dati, when I started teaching at Inapoy Elementary School in 2002, it didn't occur to me that I could be promoted in a short span of time. So after 6 years of teaching in the classroom, I was advised to report to the division office. So the division office, I was there as a classroom, as a teacher one, but I was working already the job of a supervisor. So parang yun yung mga opportunities na hindi ko pinagsisisihan kasi after 3 years of as a teacher one, 2 years lang pala, no? As a what do you call this? 6 years as a teacher one, I was promoted to master teacher position. So which means that right now, because of what do you call this? Because of a lot of new teachers are also capacitating themselves to become better teachers, it would be easy for you to be at par in terms of qualifications with the older teachers. So minsan pa nga yung mga new teachers ay may mas karapatan pang maging master teacher kasi nga dahil na rin sa kanilang kakayahan. So which is why it's very important yung mga professional advancement na yan, yung mga scholarships na yan, no, mahalaga yan hindi lamang para sa sarili mo, para talaga sa sahod, no, in the future. Just for the record, I would like to emphasize the role here of Magna Carta. If Commonwealth is for protection yon, no? Yung Magna Carta, it covers everything. No, not only protection din in general kasi nandun yung benefits, nandun yung tenure of service, nandun yung mga administrative charges, no, against teachers for example, or yung iba pa, no, yung mga makikita natin doon. So, it is hereby declared to be the policy of this act to promote and improve the social and economic status of public school teachers, their living and working conditions, their terms of employment and career prospects, in order that they may compare favorably with existing opportunities in other walks of life, attract and retain in the teaching profession more and more people with proper qualifications. Yung nabanggit kanina na 10 years, magiging permanent ka na, sa kasalukuyan, hindi na siya, it doesn't pan out in practice anymore, considering that new teachers who are applying for a job now are already required to submit license. May ano na sila, may licensure examination for teachers na sila na sinasubmit talaga. If they don't have that, they will not be hired. Which is why dati, meron akong teacher dati na cover ng Magna Carta na after 10 years, pero she retired already. It was a long time ago. No, yung hindi pa masyadong ganun ka ano yung teaching profession, hindi pa ganun ka lucrative yung teaching profession. But when the teaching profession has become a lucrative profession all over the Philippines, many graduates nowadays are already qualified and that even finished grad school or even postgraduate degrees. That is why when they applied to the profession, parang ang hirap ng pumasok na wala kang ano, hindi ka na talaga makakapasok kapag wala kang lisensya. Maliban na lang if you are specialized on certain skill. Now, for example, sa senior high school. Sa senior high school kasi meron tayong mga probationary teachers. Binigyan sila ng 5 years na makapag-comply with the requirements. Every year, they renew their contract. Parang contractual na rin sila. But after 5 years, if they don't pass the licensure examination for teachers, mawawalan sila ng trabaho. Pero, they are specialized. Hindi yan applicable sa elementary or sa junior high school. Applicable lamang siya sa senior high school because we have the TVL or the Technical Vocational Livelihood Track. No? Kaya doon lang yun applicable. Gaya ng plumbing, for example, wala tayong teacher na ano pero may plumber na accredited. Wala siyang let pero nagtuturo siya sa vocational school so pwede sila makapag-apply. So may mga ganun tayong ano no which is also covered in Magna Carta no, na mahalaga nating matutunan din. And then of course the other laws no as mentioned in the presentation maliban doon sa Philippine Constitution, we have also the Magna Carta for Public School Teachers, no, Republic Act 4670, which gives details on the teachers' rights, privileges, and benefits. So with those things that you gained from today's discussion, ang tanong, do you still want to be a teacher? No, with the basic salary of more or less 22,000 pesos, do you think that is enough for you to be to be decided or to be enticed to the teaching profession or beyond that? Because I think the role of the teacher here is to teach, right? And that is your passion. I mean, your salary is part of it. I know that salary will always be part of it. You will be a hypocrite. I will be a hypocrite if I wouldn't say that I am also interested in the salary. Well, I love to teach, but I am a human being, and just like anybody else, I want also to survive. And so, salary is part of our right as a teacher. So, the question is with all these things that you have learned today, do you still want to be a teacher? Please write your answer in the chat box. Gusto kong makita yung mga sagot ninyo. Kung gusto pa ba ninyong magturo no, after learning your rights and benefits. Kasi if you are a government employee, no, kahit may COVID, walang retrenchment. No? So walang mariretrench. Walang deduction sa salary. No? In fact, hindi kami pinagbayad ng GSIS at saka ng iba pang mga bayarin last March and ano yata, April and May. No? Merong moratorium na wala mo nang babayaran. And I think the same with July and August. So I love teaching, sabi ni Lenet, nako, no, pag love na, hindi na natin maipagkakaila na gustong-gustong mag-teacher talaga. But of course, I want you to be a teacher who is also financially stable. Because we cannot teach, no matter how hard we would try to focus on teaching, if our financial stability is not that good, I think our composure as a teacher will really be affected. That is why it's really nice to always manage your finances when you teach, when you become a teacher. Kasi pag alam mo kung paano siya i-manage, yung lifestyle natin no, as a teacher and also what we are teaching to our students would really complement. Sabi ni April, I'm interested and because it is my passion. Ayan, no? Na pakinggan natin 'yan sa kwento ni ni Ong Kiko, no, yung teacher. Ay ewan ko lang kung napakinggan napanood din niyo yung video ng teacher, no, na yung tatay niya is I think it's a doctor. Tapos yung profession nila parang may lawyer sa family, pero she chose to be a teacher. Yeah, basta passion gid. Okay, that's very good. I think you can be a good teacher naman. I mean, well, no one gets rich in teaching. However, if you know naman how to manage your finances and you know how to, look for extra money in a decent way. Hindi naman yung magbebenta ka kung ano-ano no para lang tumaas yung kita mo or lumaki yung kita mo. Ano pa rin, decente pa rin yung ginagawa, no? Well, gaya ko, no? For example, I'm a teacher, I'm a supervisor at DepEd and I'm doing this. This is legal naman kasi I do this beyond office hours. 'Di ba 5:30 tayo nag-uumpisa? Nandun yung sa Magna Carta, 'di ba kanina, Lenet, no nabanggit natin, if you work beyond, no, you can get extra payment na if you go beyond what is expected of you. Kasi ito beyond na ito siya. Although you can join in no other organizations as well. So basta ano lang siya, basta legit lang siya. We have online tutorials. I also do online tutorials. No? Yun yung hobby ko talaga. No? Because I was a Facebook addict before. I joined Rare Job. And then I realized na ay meron palang pagkakakitaan online na hindi ko na kailang mag-adik-adikan sa Facebook, no? So I forgot Facebook for a while and I focused on online teaching. So it's a good way to earn a living and still it is decent. So my challenge is be a teacher, manage your finances, and give the best to your learners. Because our role, sabi ni Lenet kanina sa kanyang last quotation, na ano naman no? Lahat ng mga estudyante, they just come and go. At the end of the day, you are there to supervise and to teach them. And whatever you teach them will become part of them. And wherever they go, whoever they become in the future, and whatever they become in the future, that's because there is a teacher who taught them the right things. And we wanted to be quoted by our students one day as his or her inspiring teacher or motivating teacher. Kasi gusto nating ganun no? Yung estudyante natin, maaalala tayo dahil hindi tayo nangungurot, no? Maaalala tayo dahil tayo yung nag-inspire sa kanila, tayo yung lalo pang ginanahan sila sa pag-aaral. So yung goal natin as a teacher, to be inspiring. Hindi kailangan dito yung summa cum laude na teacher. Kasi minsan yung summa cum laude, sila pa yung hindi marunong magturo, no? Kasi minsan dinadala nila yung level ng estudyante doon sa level nila instead of bringing or going down to the level of the students. We want only a teacher who can teach, no? Sabi nga ni Gloria hindi kailangan yung yung masyadong matalino, hindi naman bobo. Kasi pag bobo na teacher, parang hindi naman magandang pakinggan na si teacher ay gano'n, no? So at least average teacher pero has a big heart. Kasi you can learn the craft naman no? You can join in trainings, you can participate in advancement programs that could enhance your teaching skills. At the end of the day, yung isang average teacher pero passionate will become this someday. Sabihin mo, oh, yung valedictorian namin hindi nakapagtapos ng pag-aaral. Ako na lang most neat and clean, ako pa yung na-supervisor. No? When I was in elementary, sinasabi ko sarili ko, nako, I was most neat and clean, no? And that time I was very proud of myself, but my mom was saying, you could have done better. Better than most neat and clean. Now I realized how that most neat and clean award that was given to me by the teacher impacted me as a teacher, no? Na-realize ko na ay hindi bale na yun lang yung nakuha mo. Ang importante naman naging ka totoo ka sa sarili mo and then you were able to rise no from that humble beginning where you started. So thank you so much for all the reporters, the presenters today. Congratulations. Virtual clap to all of you. And we have our last presenter na pa tayo next last presenter na tayo next week.
Super, sir.
Meron pa tayong two. I hope we can finish it before the pre-final, no? Pag matapos natin. Kasi we are running out of time already. Ang dami pang i-cover natin. And I want also to share some of the practices and also the status of the teachers outside the Philippines para you can compare. Hindi ko naman ito ibibigay sa inyo para pumunta kayo ng ibang bansa. Para at least mas lalo kayong ganahan na ang mamatay ng dahil sa iyo, no? Yun yung sasabihin natin sa mga sarili natin. Although it would be a nice experience if you go outside and experience their teaching there. But at the end of the day, please come back to the Philippines and serve your countrymen with all your heart and with all your might. That's the best that we can do as a Filipino citizen. So before we have our prayer, siguro prayer muna and then magpipicture tayo. Okay? So let me just end the recording. Can we request someone to lead us the prayer from the group?